We'll take teachers first, and I think I would say to teachers the same things that I hope I have not only said but lived for the past couple decades here, and that is the interaction of quality teachers in their classrooms with students is in my opinion, the most significant determinant of a quality education program. And so to teachers, they should be central to everything we do. They should be valued, they should be well prepared, and they should be expected to perform at their highest level day in and day out with students. To students, I would say challenge yourselves at the higher level, at the highest level that you can. Consistently, when we do follow-up studies with kids that leave us, and then we go back 5 years later, and the kids say to us two things. One is, you should have made me work harder, and two, you should have made me take those harder courses. And so to students we say, learn from your peers who have gone before you. Challenge yourself with harder courses. Experiment with doing things that you don't think you can do at high school, because it is A, cheaper, and B, you might be surprised what you can do. And then carrying that on to parents and to basically the community is, don't expect too little of students or teachers or schools per se. I think at times we get into a routine where it's okay to do what we've done in the past. Well, eventually, if you stay at that point for a period of time, you have indeed gone behind, because everything else is changing. So, challenging ourselves to do a little more, do a little better each year, to take the harder courses, to achieve at a higher level, to experiment with what we learn and what we do and what we think. Those are the processes that we should be involved with teachers and students. I have seen a decrease in the number. At this time, we are still seeing similar quality. But again, we're in a unique position in Elkhorn, and we are in a place where young teachers in particular want to be, because it's a metropolitan area. We are, absolutely. We are in a growing school district. Part of my career, I was a career planning and placement assistant director at the Career Planning and Placement Center at UNL. So I've always kind of kept an eye on what is the available pool of candidates, what is the available pool of teachers in particular areas. When you look at math, secondary special ed, physical science, foreign language, those areas, along with speech pathology, those areas, there is a limited pool. And you best be early in the hunt. We used to start looking for teachers in May. We start looking for teachers now in February at the latest. If we can get advertisements out and start looking in January, we will. So, yeah, it's a concern. And I think part of what the role of the commissioner is I think I have to articulate that concern to the policymakers and the individuals that have perhaps the wherewithal in terms of resources to help with that. I think it's important to be an informed and active citizen, and anything that diminishes that role, I would tend to be opposed to. So when people were saying, well, teachers shouldn't do that, that rubbed me the wrong way. Because, part of me says, well, you're saying that because I may not agree with you, or you think I can't handle the political pressures involved of sticking my neck out. And I said, either way, that's unacceptable. I think, so the political involvement about the critical issues of education without the earnest contributions of teachers in that dialogue, I think is not healthy. So Well, I think it's good teachers. We have been so fortunate in this state that we have good teacher preparation institutions, and that we still, for reasons that I think have to do with our community-based education systems, that good people, smart people, still engage themselves as teachers, and have done so generationally, perhaps not as much now as in the past. But, it used to be you would take a look at the ACT or SAT scores, and there was in the Nation at Risk report, there used to be, the people going into teaching tend to be from the lower half of the people or the scores on those college entrance tests, except in, by the way, Midwest and Nebraska, Iowa, notably, where we still attracted in the top quartile. That's where our teachers were coming from. And so, that's, I think, one of the, and continue to be the strength. The other thing is, I think communities truly care about their schools. I think we have been fortunate here in Elkhorn that we're standing on the shoulders of generations before us that made decisions about the school district and made the decisions about commitments to students that were for the greater good and the greater future. And that isn't unique to Elkhorn. I see that across the state. And that isn't something, as we see and meet with people from other states that come to Nebraska, because this, and particularly this part of Nebraska, because this is a little bit of the economic engine of the state here. And so they come to us and they say, somewhat amazingly that, the public schools here are better than the private schools were back there. And their kids, of course, were in the private schools back there. And to which I reply, well, then you ought to be giving us the money. So, no, I don't say that. Yeah, but it is, and they say it as if they're shocked. And this is part of the reason why we have trouble with the national debate about education, why we have trouble with the Nation at Risk report, while we have trouble with some of the other major educational decisions and documents, is because we don't see it. We don't see it. And in the work ethic of our teachers, and in the support of our communities and schools, and in the, I think, the basic expectation that our kids are to come to school and do well. So that's a bit of a frustration when you read about on the national scene that people bash teachers and bash schools, and you go, gosh, if we're as bad as what they're saying, then goodness, yes, we ought to change, we ought to do things differently. But we don't see it here. And that's part of the problem that I know we face at the state level, is the people that only know education and only know public education by the headlines that they read nationally, and not by their experiences in Nebraska public schools. They diminish our effect, and I think unfairly so.